just joined us on the System After Dark, this is a homegrown number courtesy of E3 and Cracker. Bulla, how's it going? I'm D, your host on the System After Dark, right here on Today FM. Today's hit music. You can catch me weeknights at 7 p.m. That's from Monday to Friday, only on the home of Today's hit music. And don't forget, that's D with you every weeknight on the System After Dark. Even got that homebrew flowing.
Good evening, this is FBC News. I'm Amrita Priyadarshini. In this bulletin, Prime Minister warns overseas Fijians plotting against the state that they will be brought to justice. ADB President praises Fiji's economic development. A new government boat to service maritime islands. Prime Minister Voreqe Bainimarama has warned that Fijians living overseas who are encouraging sedition will be brought to justice. Bainimarama says the current government is the only lawful government and to challenge it is an attack on democracy, and it will not be tolerated.
Prime Minister Voreqe Bainimarama has for the first time revealed that there are certain high-profile figures in Australia who are plotting against the state. And he has warned them Fijian authorities will make sure they are brought to justice.
If you encourage sedition, you are committing a serious offense. If you urge violence against anyone in Fiji, you are committing a serious offense. The hand of the law is very long, and rest assured that the authorities in Fiji will not rest until you are brought to justice.
The Prime Minister also issued a warning to those who are listening to attempts to divide the country, saying they are liars and are fooling people to back their crazy idea to break away from Fiji, to establish so-called Christian states or overthrow the current government altogether.
People behind these insurrections don't believe in democracy, in listening to the will of the people. They want to impose their will on everyone else. They are enemies of the state and enemies of the Fijian people. They are enemies of investment. They are enemies of a modern Fiji. They are enemies of prosperity for Fijians, and we are going to track them down and bring them to justice.
Bainimarama says any attempt to divide the nation will not be successful, and anyone foolish enough to join those already implicated in doing so will be severely punished and could spend many years in jail.
To those Fijians in areas where these people are operating, let me say this. Do not be fooled into supporting breakaway states. It is not only illegal, but even if they were permitted, they would have no hope of surviving economically. You would be poor as well as foolish. So turn your backs on these messengers of division.
Already 70 people have been charged for 3 different sedition cases in Nanronga and Ra. 2 more are expected to be charged on Monday. The Prime Minister is urging all Fijians to report any illegal activity that they see or hear about to the police. Eleanor Turangaiviu, FBC News.
The 33,000-volt transmission line from Ba to Vatukola tripped this morning, resulting in a power blackout to Tavua, Vatukola, Nandari Vatu and Raki Raki. The Fiji Electricity Authority says a bushfire burned down 4 wooden power poles along this transmission line. Restoration of power supply is expected later tonight or the early hours of tomorrow. FEA Chief Executive Hasmukh Patel says customers who live along the sugarcane belt need to take precautions when lighting up fires. The Asian Development Bank has praised Fiji's economic development under the Fiji First government. Bank President Takehito Nakao met with Prime Minister Voreqe Bainimarama and says the ADB is confident about the direction Fiji is taking. Edwin Nunn reports.
With other countries, of course.
Asian Development Bank President Takehito Nakao, during his visit, held a public lecture on the future of the Pacific and the need for regionalism.
The regional approach to common challenges can benefit all. Pacific Island leaders will be discussing a new framework for Pacific regionalism at the Forum Leaders meeting in Port Moresby in early September. ADB stands ready to support their key priorities.
Nakao says the ADB is ready to support key regional strategies adopted by the Pacific Island Forum next month. Simultaneously, he held talks with National Planning Minister Aya Syed Kayum to finance the upgrading of our water and sewerage system. In order to keep up with developments in Asia, Nakao suggests the Pacific quickly modernizes itself.
High barriers to imports and slow and complex customs procedures should be removed. Regional trade agreements, including those being negotiated between Pacific Island countries themselves, as well as with Australia and New Zealand, can reduce regulatory costs and encourage growth.
According to the ADB president, the bank spends $2.5 billion a year in climate change mitigation, including helping high carbon emitters to adopt greener methods. Between now and 2018, Fiji will receive over $600 million in loans for capital works, including roads and jetties and water supply upgrades. Edwin Nand, FBC News.
Prime Minister Bainimarama today commissioned a new government vessel, the Thangivo, which will provide shipping services to our coastal and maritime communities. Bainimarama says the new vessel will transform the lives of Fijians in the maritime communities and give them a safer, comfortable and reliable means of transport.
This vessel is a potent symbol of the Thangivo, which signifies the new wind that is carrying Fiji forward, and it's in line with the government's program of modernization to transform the life of every Fijian.
As I keep saying, we are growing the national cake so that everyone can get a bigger slice. And I'm extremely pleased and proud that with this ship, we are able to give a bigger slice of the cake to people living in coastal and maritime areas.
Thangivo is the third and most impressive of the new vessels the government has acquired to further enhance the development of Fijians in the outer islands.
They are safer, more comfortable and more reliable means of transport, taking in plant and equipment to develop their infrastructure and taking out the things they rely on for their incomes, their fish and agriculture produce, and getting them to market in the best possible condition to earn the best possible price.
Costing $5.76 million, the vessel was built by the Kiang Juan Dockyard in Miri Sarawak, Malaysia, and is capable of carrying 100 passengers. With the new vessel, the GSS fleet now stands at 6. Next year, another new vessel is expected to replace the decommissioned navigation aid ship Rayawa.
This ship will have a multi-purpose function, a platform for aids to navigation, also doubling up as a hospital ship. These are two critical roles: maintaining safe sea lanes in line with our international obligations and providing our maritime communities with much needed medical services. On this vessel, we'll be able to conduct surgical operations that have only been available in hospitals on the main islands.
Surveyors from the Maritime Safety Authority of Fiji were among the team that supervised the construction of the Thangivo, along with a technician from the GSS and a local naval architect consultant, Moape Mbatingai. Ali Kimbia, FBC News.
A special team spearheading the investigations into the speculated division in the Social Democratic Liberal Party has begun the due process. The 4-member team was formed during the SODELPA Management Board meeting yesterday. Chanel Sivan reports.
After almost 2 hours of deliberation, the SODELPA Management Board stepped out of the head office in McGregor Road, Suva, saying very little about their deliberations.
No, I can't know what was discussed inside, but what I can tell you is this is all we've prepared. And according to it, what the Management Board has done is we've run up a team of 4 to investigate, and until they come up with the investigation, there's nothing we can...
FBC News understands the discussion centered on the complaints made against the party leader, Rotebu Mukepa, initiated from a damning report on the audit of the opposition office.
Oh, there was allegation, well, you know, everything's in the paper and so forth, so whether they say any truth to it, it'll be on the investigating.
The meeting was convened without the party president Ratu Naingama Lalambalavu, who is also the board chairman. FBC News has established he is back in the country after spending about a week in Australia.
Meeting going ahead without Mr. Nengama?
No.
Who chaired the meeting?
I can't comment on that.
Who chaired the meeting today?
I can't comment on that.
So who are the four, Mr. Undole?
Who are the four?
Who are the four?
Are you part of the four, sir?
No, I'm not, and I'm not at liberty to disclose.
FBC News has made several attempts to get comments from the party, but the time this bulletin was prepared, there was no answer from them. Calls also made to MP Moses Mbulitavu remain unanswered. Chanel Shivan, FBC News.
Still to come on FBC News, Lambasa residents share their views towards compilation of 2016 national budget.
Oya wa tisoni dalai. Bunga yang masih donu. Nama dikirau bena tolu kena betu. Ena biar kaki. Moli dikena parombuka. Gori ena lali nekabi. Bula FM. Nama 2 ena seri.
Welcome back. You're with FBC News. Now, the MSG trade agreement is set to cover new ground as the only trade agreement in the Pacific to include services, investment and labour mobility. This is the word from Permanent Secretary for Trade Shaheen Ali as the week-long trade negotiations between the MSG countries start to make inroads toward the final recommendations for the Trade Ministers' meeting in November. Madhu Bolaitamana with the details.
Senior MSG trade and economic officials have been meeting in Nadi this past week to finalize their recommendations and other items to be presented to MSG trade ministers on Monday.
Given the spirit of cooperation and the spirit of MSG solidarity amongst the officials and also the political impetus that is provided by the leaders, the officials have managed to negotiate those aspects of the agreement.
This is the second last meeting to finalize the draft legal text of a new and more comprehensive trade agreement known as the MSGTA3. It will include new chapters on services, investments and labour mobility to be presented for adoption by ministers in November.
This will be a milestone agreement, a historical agreement, because it will bring the MSG sub-region even closer, increase our integration, deepen it, and also open up new opportunities in the areas of investment.
MSG officials are pleased with the progress so far on some of the key outstanding issues such as rules of origin, the criteria under which goods will be deemed eligible for preferential treatment by member states in the new agreement.
Trade ministers to have an appreciation, have a feel of how this trade agreement is shaping at this stage, have a feel of what is contained in the trade agreement, more so to have their buy-in power so that come November there won't be any hurdles, if any, but more so a seamless transition.
Minister for Trade Fayaz Koya will be meeting in Nadi with his counterparts from the MSG countries on Monday to review the final recommendations on the agreement ahead of the November meeting in New Caledonia. Madhyam Bolaitamana, FBC News.
Residents of Lambasa today got an opportunity to give their ideas and views for the 2016 national budget. While some people suggested the government to concentrate more on health and education sector, others want the government to look at infrastructural needs in the Northern Division.
Following successful consultations in Suva and Lautoka, it was time for the residents of Lambasa to tell the government what they want in next year's budget.
We need FEA power, and it has gone up to Wanikoro on the borderline of Langalanga and Navalev Wanikoro. And we are requesting from long time.
I
live in a small area named Anuve and we don't have bus services. Children have to travel 4.5 kilometers on foot to reach school. We also don't have power supply.
Attorney General Ayaz Sayed Hayum says a lot has been planned by the government to improve the livelihood of people in North.
We are trying to identify some land to get a bigger airport for Vanuatu that can serve not just Lambasa but also serve Savu-Savu.
Sayed Hayum says the completion of the Dreketi-Nambawalu highway will see a number of people visiting Northern Division, which will boost the economy. Other suggestions from the public include assistance towards agriculture sector.
Regarding agriculture farming towards Korotari bin Moli, vegetable farming and cane farming. The agriculture, each time we visit the office in Lambasa, they say we don't fall in this province. We have to travel all the way to Savu to put our grievance.
This is the first year the government has organized consultations for the national budget. Similar sessions will be held in other parts of the country. Sharin Lata, FBC News.
Children who carry a phone to school must have the approved consent of a parent. It's part of a new policy implemented by the Ministry of Education.
Minister for Education Dr. Mahendra Reddy says the policy also includes the use of any electronic gadgets. He says a consent letter is required from parents.
So at the moment, if a child wants to bring a mobile phone, then the parent has to sign off and request why the school should allow the child to carry a electronic device or a phone.
However, Reddy says schools might in the future require a child to carry an electronic device in line with Education Ministry's strategy to get into digital learning.
We are still maintaining that we will need parental approval for any electronic device that a child brings in, particularly a phone. But there will be also, school may require the child to use a particular electronic device.
So if you want your child to be allowed to take a phone to school, you have to write for permission stating why it is necessary and receive the school's approval. Julie Vatuwaliwali, FBC News.
Mirchi FM's reality show Lok Kar Diya Jaye ended on a high note today. The show saw two celebrity personalities locked inside a house outside Nasinu town for 72 hours without communication, completing dares and challenges thrown at them by the public. Shanal Sivan reports.
A large crowd waited at the Shop and Save car park this afternoon, eagerly awaiting to see their favorite radio personalities, Jitendra Shandil and Ashnil Singh, come out of isolation after 4 days. The two celebrities were then given one last challenge before the end of the competition.
I was thinking about my family and then at the same time about my next day. I was supposed to listen to the radio now and then, and I kept my mind focused. What is the next day will come on?
You know, when I entered, Jiten was locked from Wednesday. So when a human being doesn't bath from 3-4 days, how does he smell? So that was my day, I think so. And we had a good time.
In the past 3 days, the Mirchi FM webpage had crashed several times because of the surge in numbers of people viewing the show on live stream, and manager programs Shammi Lochan apologized for the inconvenience.
We kept in touch with TFL and our technical crew, who told us that the network was so condensed that it couldn't take the load. And even today, people really wanted to know what was happening, the emotions involved. They wanted to know whether Ashnil was going to be locked for another day.
The Fiji Broadcasting Corporation promises an even bigger and a better event next year. Chanel Shivan, FBC News.
Coming up in sports, $350,000 for flying Fijians if they make it to the World Cup quarterfinals. And new winner at Police IDC.
छू 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 हे हे नमस्ते फीजी, आपके हर एक प्रॉब्लम की दवा लेकर मैं आ गई हूँ 9 से 12 बजे तक आपकी सहेली रेनू। छू 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 40 में 20 का दिखना है। मैं हूँ ना आपके साथ में मिर्ची एफएम पर 9 से 12 बजे तक मंडे टू फ्राइडे। मिर्ची, इट्स हॉट।
Welcome to FBC Sports. Nanranga has retained the HFC Bank Fairbrother Trophy after a successful defence in the first challenge. The side defeated Nandi 26-23 at Lawanga Park in Singatoka today. Nanranga plays Vatukola next week in the second challenge. The Vodafone Flying Fijians will receive another $350,000 from government if they qualify for the quarterfinals of the Rugby World Cup. The announcement made by Minister for Youth and Sports Lesenia Tuitumbo in Parliament yesterday. Rohit Deo reports.
Just a couple of days remain until the Vodafone Flying Fijians leave our shores to take part in the biggest rugby event of the year. More support from government in the form of additional grants will be given to cover costs if the team makes it through the first round.
It has been presented through Cabinet and also to provide any additional costs, 350,000 if the Flying Fijians reach the quarterfinals. And if they go beyond that, there's an extra donation cash that has been put aside, and which will depend on the Fiji Rugby Union on how much they will submit it if they go past the pool place, and that are already in place.
The minister told the parliament this is the best equipped Fijian team to take part in any World Cup.
Staff are using the Sports Code Performance Analysis software, which is a New Zealand product, to monitor the performance players. This tool is used to analyze the player's game and provide statistical information as a part of preparation of the team to the Rugby World Cup.
Fiji faces a mammoth task of reaching the last 8 stages as it is pooled with England, Australia, Wales and Uruguay. The John McKee coach side started their campaign against England on the 19th of September. Rohit Deo, FBC Sports.
The Western 2 football side are the new champions of the Skyline Fiji Police Force Inter-District Championship after defeating last year's winners Northern 3-1 in the final today. Earlier in the semi-finals today, Northern beat Eastern 1-0, while Western 2 beat PSRU with the same scoreline. In the third place playoff, PSRU defeated Eastern 3-1 on penalty kicks. The police team to participate in the Sukuna Bowl was also named after the final today. The final of the Netball Championships is currently underway between Suva and Lautoka at the National Netball Centre in Suva. Earlier in the semi-finals today, Lautoka defeated Nanranga 23-19, while Suva accounted for Nasinu 32-21. Suva will be looking to take revenge against the Sugar City side as they were beaten by the same team in pool play. And more than 35 teams took part in the 2-day competition. The Banana Cup bowling competition started with the pool matches at the Suva Bowling Club today. A huge number of teams turned up for the 2-day event with no major upsets recorded on the first day. Pool matches resume tomorrow morning while the finals will be played after that. And this is the first year the tournament is being played in an open grade where the men and women compete in one grade. The 2015 Fiji Open International Snooker Championship started in Suva today. 41 players took to the tables today for a chance to be the #1 ranked snooker player in the country. Some major upsets were recorded on the first day of competition.
Beating Mahindeo, who was the current 6th-rate winner. Smile won by 3-2. And then Fiji #1, Jiten Prasad, is out of the elimination before the elimination. And there are other upsets that were caused by a newcomer, that is Joseph Lawrence, who has beat Ipelimbua, who is also one of the top seed for the top bet for the tournament.
The tournament finished with the finals at the Merchant Club in Suva tomorrow. The Fiji Car Club is ready to host the Professional Security Services quarter-mile drag race tomorrow. The race has been postponed for more than a month now due to adverse weather conditions. This week's race will see a bit of change in the way the cars will be categorized.
Previously, we used to have racing aspect engine capacity. So this Sunday, we are introducing per seconds racing. So basically what it will mean is if a 1.3 litre is doing 16 seconds and a 1.8 litre doing 16 seconds, they'll be in the same class. So basically, we're trying to get more members in. We're trying to get more races in to race.
The race begins at 10 a.m. at the Nanuku airstrip in Pacific Harbour. Well, mostly fine conditions were experienced over the group today. A trough of low pressure lies over Solomons and extends over to Tuvalu, Tokelau and Cook Islands. Meanwhile, trade wind flow prevails over most of the southwest Pacific. Now, Suva recorded the lowest temperatures for the day at 27 degrees, Lambasa the highest at 30 degrees. Tomorrow it should be fine apart from few brief showers over the interior, southern and eastern parts of the larger islands. It will be cool at night. The outlook for Monday, fine apart from brief showers and it will be cool at night. Our main points again. Prime Minister warns overseas Fijians plotting against the state that they will be brought to justice. ADB President praises Fiji's economic development under the Fiji First government. A new government boat to service maritime islands. Onto our poll question, and this week we ask, are current measures for public service vehicle inspection adequate? Visit our FBC website to take part. You can send us newsworthy pictures and videos on email citizenseyes@fbc.com.fj or share it with us via our Facebook page FBC News. And if you're on Twitter, follow and tweet us your news tips at FBC News or simply #FBC News. You've been watching FBC News. I'm Amrita Priyadarshini. Good night.